Hey, you math whizzes out there. Do you know what holiday is coming up? It's Pi Day, March 14th. Well, to celebrate this little mini holiday, I'm going to make some homemade peach pies. And what I mean by pies, I mean little handheld pies that you can walk around and munch on while you're busy at work or just out and about learning about numbers. So, come baking with me as we set on our journey to make some homemade peach pie. So, early this morning, while I was still in my pajamas, I made some pie crust. After I was done with the pie crust, I rolled it into a square, because we're gonna make squares, and then I put it in the fridge for 2 hours, or until it's firmed up enough that it won't fall apart when you roll it out, but it'll still be pliable and moldable. Then I went to my pantry and got my homemade peach pie filling. The recipe that I used for the peach pie filling was from this book. It is the peach pie filling. And as you can see, I wrote down some notes. Basically, whenever I can something, I always take down notes to know what I've done and how I did it. So if I screw up, I know what I did. If it tastes fantastic, I know what I did. So that's why it's super important to write in your cookbooks. So if you make any changes or alterations to a recipe and it tastes better than the original, that it turns out perfect. So now I'm going to pop this open and then we'll get to rolling out our dough. So I got my little church key. And you'll notice I'm not using the pokey side because that side would indent and I don't want to get metal in my peach filling. So I'm just going to pop it. Ooh, it smells delicious. So I'm just going to shut this and get to rolling on my dough. So as you can see, I got my dough out. I have it on a lightly floured surface. I also put some flour on my rolling pin. And now I'm going to roll this out thin and into a rectangle. Me personally, I don't like sticking dough in the refrigerator for longer than an hour because it seems like I always have that issue. But the other reason I don't like sticking it into the fridge for long periods of time is because if you leave a dough in the fridge, for some reason, the fridge seems to remove moisture from the dough, which can be bad because then you end up with split dough. But that's just my personal preference and things I've noticed while I've been working with pie crusts and recipes where you have dough that you stick into the refrigerator. Now, even though I'm rolling this out, I'm gonna let you guys skip to the good part. Ready? And oh my God, it multiplied. I'm kidding. No, so while I was rolling the dough out, to make it easier to roll it out big enough, I split it into 2 divisions and then I cut it into a square. This is my leftover pie dough. And what I plan to do with that is after I'm done cutting these up and filling them, I am going to re-roll that out and make a couple more, basically until I can't make any more. Now, let's make some squares. So basically, you want to cut these in 3x5s. Let's see, so this is about 9 inches across. 3s, 3, 3. So we'll do that. So we'll start by, which this is a bench knife, by the way. They're really, really handy, I'm coming to learn. Isn't math great? Now that we got our 3, now we gotta do 5. So, sorry, I'm just getting over a cold or flu, whatever it was, but it hit my family. It hit us hard, and it was not fun, and I'm still not quite over it, but that's okay. This extra scrap dough I will put with the other dough. Now let's measure the other ones. And they don't have to be perfect. You just want to make sure that you have squares that are all about the same size, because you're going to partner them up. So one side's going to be your bottom and the other is going to be the top. No, get back here. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to do a few of them, and then we will cut back to having them all done up and ready to be sealed. I need a spoon. Filling. And when you go to partner these up, try and make sure that your bigger crust is the one that's going to go on top to seal. Put a little there. And you'll want to leave a little bit of room around the edges, because we are going to put brush on egg yolk around the edges to basically make a little packet. Basically, we're making like Pop-Tart type dessert. Now what I'm going to do is, while I have this here, I'm going to poke some holes in the top one, because that'll be important while you're baking, to let steam out so they don't explode out the sides. And when we come back, I will have all these done and I'll show you how to do the egg white. If anyone wants to know how to separate an egg white from an egg yolk fast and easy, you can use the eggshell, but since my eggshell kind of cracked all funny, I'm going to show you a really neat thing that a lot of people freak out about. What they don't realize is, this is what I mean by you can use the eggshell. Some people just like to take it and use your hand and grab the yolk and just like that, your egg is separated. Nice, neat, and into 2 components. Now, just kind of break it up, stir. And sometimes what I like to do to make it just a little bit nicer to work with is I add about a tablespoon of water. A teaspoon to a tablespoon. And then you end up with a beautiful egg wash. Next, I'm going to grab my handy dandy brush and kind of just try and get around the edges as best as I can. The peach pie filling is just kind of everywhere. This is not a clean task, but that's okay. If you're not making a mess, are you really cooking? Okay, so do that. Take this one, set it on top. Just kind of press down on the sides. We're not done quite yet. But wait, there's more! Take a fork and press down the edges. Sometimes filling will squeeze out, not just egg wash, but that's okay. I know you're saying, what about the inner edges? Well, I'm gonna use my bench knife, kind of scoop underneath, pull it out, and seal that edge best as I can. Now that that's done, I'll set them on a baking tray, and then I'll show you what a full batch looks like. Ta-da! Aren't they pretty looking? I am actually going to put these in the oven and let them bake, and then while those are baking, I'm going to clean up the mess on the counter and repeat this whole process. And when the timer is up, we'll come back and we'll have some delicious ham pies to look over. I just wanted to pop in to say that they cook for about 30 to 35 minutes. There's about 13 minutes left, and I'm gonna check on these and just kind of turn them around. See, a good press seamed and a seam that didn't get pressed as much. But that's okay, because it's still gonna taste delicious no matter what. And now we let them continue to cook. Okay, that's 30 minutes. You can cook them up to an additional 5 minutes if they're not ready. But for now, let's check them. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's the filling bubbling inside of it. You can see that one's seam popped open. It's starting to fall out. But yeah, these look good. I'm gonna put them on a cooling rack, and I am going to swap out for the last remaining ones. And once they cool, I'm going to top them with a glaze, and we'll try them out and see how they are. Okay, now that these have cooled a little bit, I took a little bit of powdered sugar and a little bit of milk to make a nice glaze. And now I'm just gonna take it and put it over it. Kind of spread it around. You'll notice I have wax paper underneath because it does get messy. If you wanted to up the flavor level on this glaze, since it's peach, and if you don't have a problem with it, use some homemade or get your hands on some bourbon vanilla and just add a tiny little bit to it, and that'll really help the peach flavor pop out. And I'm not putting glaze on all of them just because they all don't need glaze. Sometimes it's just kind of nice to have a regular slice of a handheld peach pie. When we come back, we'll try one out. Let's try one of these out. Picking one with glaze. Well, that is a sweet pie filling. It's flaky because I used butter in the pie crust. It's sweet because of the glaze, and it's very peachy. Well, I hope you go out and have an awesome pie day. Remember to eat up.